Alright boys, as requested and as some of you have seen me on stream, I have updated my Flay Barbarian build, the Bleed God. I'm using two-handed sword, the Fields of Crimson, which was, buffed and just changed for the season. It's a pretty damn good sword. It helps with AoE because this build struggles with AoE. And you can see me soloing tier 8 Infernal Horde. Because of the lack of AoE, which is not the best, I was not able to get that much ether. I was pretty unlucky with rolls. I didn't really have any Hellborn, so that there is that. But in general, this build has amazing damage, especially a single target. I'll show you the council in a second, and also survivability is through the roof. We have such a high cooldown reduction that our Iron Skin challenging show, they're up non-stop. As you can see, like the cooldowns are just ridiculous. Use Rupture on any mob in this pack and you get everything back up. So we don't need Martial Glyph, which I use in the planner, but I'll probably swap it for something else. Bolt Chieftain is not needed either. We just have Hectic. Attack speed with this build is also very damn high because I have upgraded Rupture for the attack speed. So all in all, pretty damn impressive. I would say Flay and Bash are the best builds. Maybe Whirlwind if set up properly, but very fun build, very good for bosses. If you want to carry a 4-man group in tournament bosses, Duriel, Zir, Ice Beast, then no problem with this build. As you can see, it's just deleting elites, right? Just 3 Flays and you can Rupture pretty much on the elites, or 4 Flays. Well, very crazy. Now, I do have some crazy items with great affixes, but you do not need those by whatsoever. You can just play non-J items. Now, mind you, this is endgame build, so you will see mythic uniques, like most builds as well. But the version I published before, and that could work as well. The dual wield, twined, they both work. It's really up to personal preference, but I like this one a bit more as it helps. I mean, the damage is better on single target. It also helps with AoE, so yeah, this is just much better. And I was kind of afraid of the attack speed, but you can see it's very high with the two-handed sword, thanks to Rupture. Now, Field of Crimson spawns a blood puddle or blood pool where mobs take increased damage by 30%. And I'm still not sure about the rotation. I think I've been messing up here and there as well, the rotation, because I think that refreshing the Field of Crimson might be better. So every 6 seconds, you should probably use Rupture, regardless of the stacks on the mobs with Flay, or maybe keep stacking Flay. I'm really not too sure on that one. I still need to test it. But usually I'm going to talk about the rotation even more in detail later on, but the rotation should be Shout Up, Steel Grasp to group mobs together. I would start the Rupture to spawn the Blood Puddle or Blood Pool underneath the mobs so they get increased damage by 30% from your Flay and Bleed. And also to proc attack speed so you can stack Bleed with Flay faster. And then you would just, stack Flay and then pop them all with Rupture, like what I'm trying to do here. But you can see the AoE is actually not too bad. You could see those Pain Gorges procced little icon above the enemy's HP bar, like a green circle. That means that Pain Gorges is active, and any Flays on the mob in front of you will get, will hit the mobs in the back. You can see a lot of elites here with elementals, even the fire explosions. Yeah, you can tank it no problem. And yeah, the range is pretty insane with the Rupture and Fields of Crimson, because it does have explosion increased. So you can get overrun by these mobs, no problem, you can still survive it. Iron Skin is just the best. But the aspect for Iron Skin, it is the best ability in this game. You gotta be mindful of these explosions though, poison and fire explosions when the mobs get killed. That's pretty rough. But yeah, let me show you the single target on the council, the boss fight. Wave 10, there we go, there we start. So, kind of unlucky with these bosses, this council, because you want them stationary, but as you can see, they just move around, teleport around, so spawning the blood pools from Fields of Crimson is pretty difficult, and I always usually go for Gallop the Flame, because this one is, I would say, hits the hardest and does the most damage, so highest threat in my opinion, so I always try to go for him. But then I will start with teleport, so I switch targets. And you can see the damage in single target was tier 8 Infernal Horde is pretty damn insane. It would be even higher, once again, if they didn't move. But you can see me hitting the other boss as well. Sadly, Pain Gorges do not affect the bleed effect from Flay. It's only the initial hit of the Flay, which hits for up to 5.5 million over there. If it creates 3.5 million, nothing too crazy, but the bleeds go over 100 million or whatnot. Now, I have Vant on here. My bleeds go over 200 million. there is a abandon aspect makes it so every 15 seconds your rupture will not consume bleed. So you could that's very good for bosses, comes in very handy. Or you could go with the rapid aspect, which I did not have here actually, and the attack speed is still good. Rapid aspect gives you 30% attack speed for basic skills, so I could be even faster than what you're seeing here, about 30%, which is insane with 200 weapon. But it's just a little showcase here. I just hit for 2.5 billion, but once you stack bleed, that takes for 200 million a tick or 150 million, stuff like that. Depends when you proc rupture. Then just proc rupture that hits. My highest was 5.8 billion with rupture, and mind you, my gear is not perfect. I do not have good masterworks at all. I don't have a single item that's good masterwork. Okay, maybe chest piece. Chest piece is triple masterworks, but in the planner on mobilitics that I'll go over in a second, that one has the right masterworks, which you should get. So try to cater to what you should aim for. If you cannot aim for that, that's fine, because the materials are pretty easy to farm through Infinite Horde, but damn, you need a lot of mats if you're unlucky. But it's just a little showcase. I'm gonna put it on the side, and we're gonna take a look at the planner. So let me put it just here so you guys can see some action. All right. So first things, going over the skills, we got the classic Flay, we got the Rupture, Steel Grasp. Now, if you're playing in a group with AoE character, where you don't need to clump mobs together, you should go, or you can go with Rallying Cry with Fortify to stack the counter offensive passive in skill tree even better. Double Shouts, we got Changing Shout for damage reduction and Warcry for big damage. This build is also amazing for the group as a support because of your maxing out Warcry, which is damage increase for the group, and everyone wants that. It's 33% a multiplier for the group. And Iron Skin for defensives and just everything. And let's take a look at the skill tree. Before we do that though, the technique is obviously two-handed X. That one is just the best. Now the skill tree, you want to max out Flay obviously and go up top with the increased bleeding damage. Down here, we don't take anything here, we don't need that. Next up, we got the passives for increased HP and damage reduction. Iron Skin, if we go for the HP heal here, you can also go for Fortify if you want to, but I feel like this heal just saves you so many times, it's crazy. Changing Shout, I only put 1 point in here. I do not go with HP bonus because if you have Fortify and you proc, max out Fortify and you proc Changing Shout for increased HP, that Fortify is gonna get lowered by the, by the HP increase from the Shout. So the damage reduction while fortified will be just gone once you use the Shout. So I don't really like that. I'm not a big fan. Now we got 1 passive points in here just to reach tough as nails, because if you have someone attacking you from afar, you will automatically apply bleeding to them. Warcry and max out, I like to go with Fortify up top because we do not run a Rallying Cry here with this setup. Booming Voice for extra uptime on the Shouts. Now 2.0, you can either go with Garliel for damage reduction from mobs, or you can go for a heal. Movement speed to be, mobile on the field. Aggressive resistance for damage reduction. Now I also covered how to sustain the resources down here, I believe, in the description. So in short, you can, if you struggle with Shard of Varathil uptime on the Fury, you can go with Endless Fury here, and you can also go with Prolific Fury, because of the amount of cooldown reduction we have non-stop Warcry, which is non-stop Berserking. So you can get these 2 passives, and your regeneration should go through the roof. Next up, we get the Rupture. I'm gonna go with the attack speed, 40% every 5 seconds. We have that non-stop, so that's pretty crazy. Pit Fighter for the damage increase, and also the guys see the triple shock over there. Hold on. Let me post a little bit back on the other waves. All right. Pit Fighter, very good because it's 2-in-1. Damage and damage reduction. Slang Strike, damage against injured, very good against bosses, extremely good. Cut to the Bone, you want to max this bad boy out. You also want to get ranks on Amulet for this one, ideally. Counter Offensive for damage increase with 45 over 50% of your max HP. Heavy-handed, that's the crit damage. In this footage you saw, I did not have this passive, and this is single-handedly the best DPS increase passive. So the damage could be even higher in the footage, but I did not have it. That's pretty unlucky. And lastly, we got Gushing Wounds, which got nerfed, but it's still good. It's still pretty damn good, as you can see. That was the skill tree. Let's talk about some Paragon Board. So first, the board, we are rocking Ire. So we are easier Easier to hit the cap for Blood Rage, which is over here. And this one requires you to have at least 296% berserking damage because it rounds up for the whole cap here. But yeah, Iron the first board. I like to really go for the max HP passives as well. Second board, we want to go with Carnage for attack speed. And here I like to put something that buffs magic nodes, so that's Might, because it buffs damage while berserking, but also a damage reduction. My favorite board. Next up, the second board you should get is definitely Hemorrhage. For this one, you need 352 or 356% vulnerable to make it for the cap 45%. Extra 2 points for physical damage over time. Not too bad. Berserking up top. Right here we got the Bone Breaker. This is my favorite cluster for HP. You get a lot of percentage HP here. The glyph you're using here is Exploit for vulnerability and some more damage reductions. Next up we got a Decimator. This one is also amazing for HP as we got the cluster here and over here as well. And this is Willpower board, so we are going with a Disembowel for damage, increased bleeding damage, but also cooldown reduction when you kill mobs, which we don't really need, but yeah. I also put 1 point in here for vulnerable. Now, it depends on your stats, what's your vulnerable at. But if you need to reach the 356% cap for Hemorrhage, you can definitely put points in here as well. On the left side, we got the Warbringer over here, and I go with Marshall. Now you could see the uptime on the shouts, and in general, we don't really need the cooldown reduction for other skills, since our Iron Skin is getting, has no cooldown at all with this build, same with Rapture, so we probably don't need this. But early on, I might be too cracked with the shotgun cooldown reduction, so you can still go with this one. This is a strength glyph, so you can even go with Seething glyph. That one gives you damage when you use swords, extra damage. That could be very good. But I kind of use this mainly for the damage, for the magic and nodes bonus, because I'm not a res capped. I was 67.7% resistance cap. Now, sure, I could use Incense, true. So it's up to you, but I might use it for that. But you can totally use like the Seething one for damage with swords. I might use it actually. See the difference in damage. And last board, we got Blood Rage for the cap, Berserking, damage while Berserking, and Wrath here for more generation, but also crit damage. With Gushing Wounds, we want to stack as much crit damage as possible. That was the Paragon Board. Let's talk about some items. So, Harlequin Crest, I put 3 GA here, that's what I got. Yeah, I just put my gear was here, but the Masterworks, I did put what you should get. So, cooldown reduction. This goes up to 54% if it's GA, pretty ridiculous. I think it's 44% if it's non-GA, which is still good. Rage of Hergath, this is actually what I got as well. Triple prog this bad boy. You want a damage reduction. Now, if you can find a greater affix with crit chance, that's even better. And I would like to get that one. And the luck hit should be high as well. Mine is like 40% only. Pain Gorgers, you definitely want to get ranks to the basic skills with the greater affix, and also then cooldown reduction or attack speed, also amazing stuff, which is very good. Also, gotta tell you one thing. I would really like to get Tempering for Steel Grasp stun. That is very important in these modes, because the mobs are just running around freely. Where you probably do not want to get Steel Grasp stun is the pit, a very high level pits where mobs don't really die easily. You want to stack them together and keep dragging them with you for another packs, where you can stack more bleed and stuff like that, so you do not want stun. But for Infernal Horde, I would really like Steel Grasp stun. So on my pens here, instead of Barrier Generation, I would want to go with the Steel Grasp stun, most likely. But Barrier Generation does affect Iron Skin. Some people think it doesn't affect because last season apparently didn't, but it does. I tested it, it does. And it's pretty damn good. So ranks to Flay, you definitely want to get it on pens. Strength, all resistances that will reach the cap for you, especially Masterworked. Early on, without Masterworks, you will probably miss a lot of resistances, but I recommend crafting Incense with 10% all res, and you can also get other ones as well for resistances in a different type of Incense. Barrier Generation as the utility or Steel Grasp stun and Iron Skin cooldown reduction. Now the boots are also Iron Warrior, my favorite aspect. Unstoppable damage reduction. Hectic aspect, this is providing extra cooldown reduction on the gear, on the skills. We want to get Strength, Fury per second, and ranks to Warcry. And you could even go with movement speed instead of strength, but in this horde, you don't really need to run anywhere, so I just went with strength. But for some speed runs, I do have other boots with movement speed. Another Barrier Generation and movement speed mobility. On the 200 mace, we want Moonrise. That's the damage aspect for basic skills. Crit damage, strength, max life affixes, then Flay duration should be masterworked, and crit damage should be the other temper. On our two-hander, Fields of Crimson, I did manage to get a 4G Fields of Crimson only for 1 billion on Diablo.trade. Pretty damn insane, because no one is using this. It's pretty cheap, right? So I masterwork double strength and 1 bleeding. I just went with it. Because enhanced Rapture explosion size and cooldown reduction with greater graphics goes over the cap, so we don't need to masterwork that. On our dual wield, we go with the rapid aspect for attack speed. You could totally go with the Wanton if you like Wanton with the Rapture not eating bleed. That's very good for bosses. I would go with that. But since we kind of reapply, you know, Rapture with the blood pool every 6 seconds, I just went with this one. Great damage, strength, life, great damage, flight duration, same as the two-hander. Shard of Arathiel, a very good one as well. Sadly, this one does not work with Pain Gorgers. I mean, the effect of Pain Gorgers, where you damage enemies with the cast and basic skill, marks them for 3 seconds, and then you echo for up to 200% damage. That does not work with Shard of Arathiel, but we still want this because ranks to basic skills. I can reach like 30 ranks in Flay, which should be ridiculous. And this goes even for Bash, so that's what I would like to masterwork and get GA for. Actually, I do have GAs, just not masterworks. You could also get basic attack speed. That's also not too bad. Jewelry, Starless Guy, you could totally... You could be fine with Sustain on the Fury without this ring if you don't have it yet. No problem. That's how I started it as well. Just take those passives like I talked about down here. Conceited Aspect, very good one because we have non-stop uptime on the Iron Skin. So 25% damage X multiplier while barriers up. Perfect. Crit damage, crit chance, and attack speed. Strength. You could go with attack speed if you don't like strength, but I like the damage from strength. I like to stack that bad boy. Because we also have damage while berserking and a Warcry cooldown reduction. And why I like the strength stack? Because I got this amazing amulet for very cheap back in the days at when the game released. Because no one is playing Flaybar, no one is playing Bleed. I don't know what's happening, but I like it. So ranks cut to the bone, strength percent, and crit chance. Obviously, I would like to get the GA on crit chance. I think heavy-handed would be actually better than strength by miles. So cut to the bone, heavy-handed, and crit chance will be top-notch. But getting that amulet is just, you would have to sell a liver for that to be able to afford it, or win a lottery ticket to make it as a drop, right? So damage while berserking, I recommend do damage while berserking on jewelry, because jewelry is hard to get, very expensive. And why? Is because berserking is 1 out of 3 in tempers, which is, you know, higher chance of getting what you want. So I would put it on jewelry. And you can put Iron Skin or Warcry. I feel like Iron Skin is already over the cap with clone reduction with Shaku and over here. Because this goes up like 70. I have one masterwork proc on Iron Skin cooldown at 17%. So I like the Warcry uptime on the berserking whatnot. It doesn't really matter, man. You can see the skills on you can see the skills in the footage, man. It doesn't matter. If you do not have these items, I did put up like what you could replace it with. If you don't have these items yet, no problem. It would still work. Strength weaknesses, like very good single target damage, extremely tanky, and it does make a cool sound if you attack with Flay. Let's be honest here. The only weakness is kind of poor AoE, but with Pain Gorger, if Pain Gorges worked, it will be much better. But yeah, that's just the only weakness. Otherwise, it's just cracked. Now, the gems for the weapons, it all depends on your gear. My gear is, I have like 5 vulnerable sapphires and only 1 emerald for crit damage. Because 5 sapphires I needed to reach the cap. So that this is all up to you, depending on your gear. Rubies in the armor. For if you're doing hard content where you need to survive, I recommend rubies. But if you are fine with survivability, you could go with either green gems for crit chance, which is emeralds, or you could go with purple ones, amethyst for strength. Either of those two. So you could even easily cap out strength with green gems. The gameplay loop, always buff yourself up with shouts, start with Rapture for attack speed proc and the blood pool from Fields of Crimson. Stack Flay on the target until the HP bar is dark red, which is the bleed indicator. And then pop them off with the Rapture. Want to bang them, insta-kill them with Rapture. And Iron Skin, save it for when you're CC'd or use it non-stop for the conceited aspect, depends on the content. This is the resource if you're struggling with it. Get Endless Fury and Prolific Fury if you really need that in the skill tree. And also on jewelry, you can temper resource generation, very important. And here I talk about Pink Gorgeous gloves don't work with Shadow Wrathful, the 200%. And yeah, I think we covered everything. Oh, I will add Consumables here or down here. What you should use is either attack speed potion with lucky hit, because it has both stats we need to proc Rage of Harrogate and whatnot with lucky hit. Or you could go with HP increase. I use that if I struggle with survivability. 20% HP is a lot. Or you could go with the crit chance and crit damage precision potion. If you really struggle with resource, which should not be the case with these skill passives, you can use the resourcefulness for resource reduction and generation, I believe. But yeah, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all. Also stream every day on Twitch and YouTube. The link will be in the pinned comment section. And if you could do me a favor, please hit that like button and even favorite this on Mobalytics, because this does help me. And I will keep updating this build if I change some stuff, which like probably the glyph here once I level it up, like I talked about. But yeah, until next time, thank you everybody, and good luck to you on the hunt. Take it easy and peace.